Welcome back. The high school winter sports season is underway across the state of North Dakota, and with the addition of Jody Norstedt to our team, we're going to be expanding our prep sports coverage to include boys and girls hockey in the Peace Garden state for the first time. So Jody, first off, let's talk a little bit about your hockey background. You grew up in the state of hockey, Minnesota. How much did you skate growing up?
Well, it turns out Montevideo, Minnesota is not a hockey hotbed. So I played no hockey growing up. I didn't really get experience in the game until I went to St. Cloud State for college. Got to know it a little bit, got to call games a little bit, and now I try to make sense of it as I will this season here as we get things going here on Midco Sports Network. All
right, so you are a seasoned vet from what it sounds like from St. Cloud State. But anyways, let's get into this a little bit. Starting with the boys' side, Grand Forks Central is the defending state champ, but they lost a lot of standouts from last year's team. Are they still the one to beat?
Well, I've covered high school hockey around these parts for 10 years, and one of the names that always comes up, or two of the names, Central and Red River. So I think so, Kelly. You mentioned it. Plenty of firepower is gone from last year's Central team. The Knights actually lost 8 of their top 9 scorers from that team that not only won the state championship but finished undefeated. Grant Johnson and Judd Caulfield combined for 149 points last season. Johnson is actually playing with the Bismarck Bobcats and Caulfield with the U.S. National Development Program. They do have Zach Murphy back, and you probably recognize that name from football season. He was Mr. Everything for the Knights. He piled up 32 points on the ice last year. He has 4 points in 2 games already this season. They have a strong goaltender back in junior Caleb Johnson. He had a 1.33 goals against average last year, splitting time in the net. Look for Central to be great again.
All right, sounds like it. But let's talk about the rest of the top 5 in your initial power rankings. You have Red River at 2, Bismarck Century at 3, Davies at 4, and Minot at 5. So which one of those teams could surprise everyone this season and kind of make a run at that title?
Well, I'm going to cross one team off that won't surprise me if they're playing for the state title, and that's Red River. Yes, both Grand Forks schools look to be dominant again. Surprise, surprise. Red River lost a lot of kids, but these programs are so deep. 40-point scorer Mason Sulquist is back to lead the Rough Riders along with goalie Nate Bradbury as we take a look at some of their video from already this season. They beat West Fargo Cheyenne in Cheyenne's new hockey venue, the new hockey venue for West Fargo. But Red River, so many great players, such an explosive offense. It's going to be interesting to see how the Red River Rough Riders fare. That's why they're at that number 2 spot. So not the surprise team. Century in that 3 spot returns 4 of its top 5 scores. The Patriots should be good with Isaiah Thomas, not the basketball player, but the hockey player. Thomas led the team with 47 points last year, has 4 goals in 3 games. Kirkland Irie, another name to watch out for. But to wrap up this long explanation, Davies offers the most surprise and intrigue in my opinion. It would be a surprise because they have to play in the East region against those Grand Forks schools. But the Eagles returned 3 of their top 4 scorers from last year's team, including Jay Buchholz. They have a good sophomore class led by Cade Stibbe and Austin Schmidt. You'll hear those names. They've combined for 9 goals in 3 games already. I just think head coach Scott Peterson has a good squad this year, not to mention a veteran goalie too. Look out for the Eagles this season. Bismarck fans are probably yelling at their TV screens right now, not seeing their name in the top 5. They were in the championship game last year, but lost a ton of talent. They could make a run, but it might happen late in the year.
All right, well, with all of that said, we're going to narrow it down. We're going to simplify it down to this week. What are some games to watch this week then?
Well, there's a few good ones. We'll put them up we'll talk about them here, but my marquee matchups are going to be Thursday when Minot travels to Bismarck Century. I think those will be the 2 best teams in the West. Dickinson will have its 3-0 start tested with a couple of tough games. Then on Friday, that Central versus Davies game will tell us a lot about where those teams are at here in the early going. You have to go all the way back to December of 2015. December 2015 to find the last time that Grand Forks Central lost to a team from the East not named Red River. That is remarkable.
All right, we're going to switch gears to the girls' side, and it seems like it's been the same old story year after year. Bismarck, they've won 3 titles in a row. Do you see that changing, Jody?
I tell you what, unless Britta Curl leaves to go play for the Olympic team, the Blizzard are once again the team to beat. And no, Britta won't be doing that, obviously, but I won't be surprised to see her play in the Olympics someday. She's worn a USA sweater several times already. Take a look at these numbers and you'll realize why Britta Curl is the face of North Dakota girls hockey right now. As an 8th grader, she scored 31 goals, third most in the state. She scored 35 as a freshman, popped in another 45 as a sophomore, ranking #1 in the state with her 77 points. And then last year, ho-hum, she led everyone in both goals and points. She's committed to the University of Wisconsin. She's really in a league of her own. High school hockey fans, I urge you to get to a rink and watch her play this season. It'll be worth your time. As for my top 5 rankings, Bismarck is, the obvious #1. Fargo North South, well, they have a pair of all-state forwards back in Grayson Myers and Anna Erickson, so they get the 2 spot for me. They also have 2 really solid goaltenders. West Fargo, Davies, and Minot round out my top 5. North South and Bismarck play each other this Saturday in Bismarck. That's one score that I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on this weekend. Kelly, back to you.
All right, great stuff. Thank you so much, Jody. And next on the show, it is Trick Shot Tuesday. We are taking it to the basketball court, so you don't want to miss this. Stay tuned.
Midco Sports Tonight, presented by Avera Orthopedics.